All right, welcome to our show, new show, first episode of the basketball community. I'm Coach John, got my boy Coach Jay.
Yeah.
So just a quick rundown about the show. The basketball community is basically us as coaches and trainers getting together and just talking about hoop. I know sometimes in this field, it's competitiveness with the other coaches and other trainers, but I think with this show, it's going to be a way to kind of bring us all under that same umbrella as one and just talk about hoop, because at the end of the day, it's basketball and we're all under that same umbrella, right? So our first guest, we got a treat for you guys. She's currently the WNBA head coach for the Seattle Storm. She was just named the head assistant for the Canadian national team. She filled in for Coach Hughes and led the Seattle Storm to a title in 2020. She also won a title with Seattle Storm as a player in 2018, and that ended her 11-year playing career. All right. Without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Coach Quinn. Coach Quinn, welcome to the basketball community. Thank you for taking time with us today.
Thanks for having me, Coach John, Coach Jay.
Hey, before we start, I need y'all to know, man, this is the GOAT. So I'm saying on episode 1 that Coach Quinn is the GOAT. Disclaimer. Okay, I said we can start now. We good.
All right, so Coach, first thing we want to kind of get into, obviously, you're currently the head coach of Seattle Storm, but we want to give a little background about the journey before. I know high school, McDonald's All-American, just been inducted to the Hall of Fame at UCLA. So,
Congrats, Coach.
yeah, congrats. So, just give us a little backstory about that.
Yeah, honestly, I like to say that basketball kind of found me. I really feel like the path that has been created is just that God ordained to say.
Yeah.
I started dribbling at a young age, so grew up watching Showtime Lakers. Like always, was just really into basketball. My parents didn't like push it on me, and I think again, I just kind of it's destiny in my opinion. And as I started playing, I was playing in like leagues with full other boys. I'd be the only girl and like dominating low key.
Hoop it. Hoop it.
And just kind of finding like joy within playing, and I always watched basketball, always enjoyed basketball, and so within that, just started playing AAU, then went to Bishop Montgomery, and again, just obviously 4 wonderful years of committing to being a student athlete, not thinking about anything but being the best person I could be, making sure my grades were on par, making sure I put the work in. Basketball wise, I was a 2-sport athlete, so I played volleyball as well. But we won 4 straight state championships, but not really understanding what that means until you like really look back at the situation. Like that's hard to do.
Right.
And then from that, just having an ability to have a basketball scholarship to play at UCLA, and again in high school, not doing anything but doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and then getting these opportunities, just not understanding that you can, go to college for free, just get letters and all those things, and then just do it. I think in the moment, and so 4 great years at UCLA, and I had an injury at UCLA, and so a year of kind of going through some adversity helped me in a lot of ways. In 2007, was drafted into the WNBA. I played for a lot of teams over about 11 or 12 seasons. Within that time, I also played overseas for about 10 years. So just year-round basketball. And that leads to kind of where I am now as a player. A lot of people always say like you play the game like a coach, and I never envisioned coaching just like I just always just kind of was who I was, just kind of played basketball and played in a specific type of way. And my last couple of years in as a player, I started coaching at Bishop, and then eventually the owners actually in Seattle were like, "When you're done, we see coaching within you, and we want you to be on our staff." So there again, like that's why I just like my journey is just like God for real, because like the opportunities that come about, like I would never have imagined. I would never have imagined that I would be coaching like, as a young basketball player, just because of my demeanor, like really chill, reserved, and that is outside of who I am. Now I also have an opportunity. I'm with Canada Basketball as an assistant coach. So again, these doors just continue to open up, and as they do, I just try to like just pour into my situations, pour into my opportunities, and give the best that I can, because I know an opportunity will either set me up, but bigger than that, I know that the people that I encounter um, matter the most, and that's kind of what I thrive in, is just kind of being an impactful person.
Right.
It's crazy you say that, because it's like you have so many youth now that they almost have been conditioned. We talked about this before. Like, I want to be a pro.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play in the NBA. I want to play in the WNBA. But it seems like what you're saying is, of course, you had your dreams and aspirations, but everything kind of developed just based on the love. It wasn't like you were a little kid saying like, I want to be in the UCA Hall of Fame, or I want to be a champion. It's just the love of the game as a little child kind of helped you develop into where you are now. So you would say, is that what's kind of missing now with maybe the youth, in your opinion, these kids now? Maybe it's not the passion, it's more just they've been directed to go this way.
Yeah, I think it is, because I think social media, you look at an Instagram page or you look at whatever TikTok, whatever is going on, and kids just think that, "Oh, okay, I can do that. That's easy," or that like how it's presented is just like that anyone can do it, and with minimal work or whatever. Sometimes now they're like, if you didn't post it, it didn't get done. Like
Mm.
it didn't matter before social media or whatever. We're not like concerned about what other people think about us trying to gain likes or whatever the case, views or whatever the case may be. We just put the work in because you were supposed to do that, and then what you your aspirations, your goals or whatever is like innate within you, because this is what you really want it for yourself, and not what you feel like other people want for you, or what you think, how you think you should be as it relates to other people, or trying to impress other people. Now you just put the work in. And I'm not saying that this generation doesn't love um, basketball or the road or the journey, but it's just different. It becomes like more like performative for other people than
Right.
really like a transformative, meaning I'm doing this because I want to change my life, or I'm trying to get this money because I'm trying to transform or change my family's life, make a better living for them. Like it becomes a little like blurred a little bit now, just because of all the other extra influence that's on the situation. But yeah, we just put the work in because it's like we have the passion and we were supposed to be doing that.
Right. So, Coach, kind of staying on the same topic in a way, just the different generations and how they're a little different now than from before. What do you think is the biggest difference in playing style now and from when you played?
Yeah. I mean, I love Steph Curry, and I love these generational players. But I think there is very much, again, like Steph Curry could do it. I should be pulling up from half court, just like
Right.
him. There's very much this influence that really impacts kids at a younger age. So now it's so interesting as a coach. This happens a lot. I'll watch kids come into the gym. They'll pick up a ball, and the first thing they do is shoot a three.
Shoot a three.
Mm. Four
Like,
shots.
No form shots.
Four
or
shots.
like, can you stretch a little bit
Right.
first? Like there's no progression, and it's not no knock, but it's just like I think now a lot of how these young kids play is like with what they see in the NBA right now, or what looks cool, or I'm not gonna shoot a mid range anymore because like 2 points don't matter
Right.
within 15 feet. No, like the game is beautiful if you think about all the intricacies of it, like what ways you can score, how you defend, like coaches, like strategy, and all of those things. And so I think now it's so when you come across kids who have like this old school like passion and like drive and desire to like to enjoy the process of it, it's like so like cool, and it makes me like happy to just understand that there are kids who aren't necessarily over the top with what they may see, and I'm not saying that Steph pulling up from half court is bad basketball. It works for him, it works for the Warriors, but I think for kids to understand there is a progression to that. Like you don't
Right.
you don't just wake up and be Steph Curry just because.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, I also think that the coaches struggle with the same problem you're talking about with the players. I feel like even as youth coaches or high school coaches, they watch the NBA too, and they feel like, all right, we're going to try to, copycat the systems that we see, not thinking about the personnel, not thinking, are you preparing this kid to play at the next level? Can they play that way? Like everything is such a copycat. We grew up, the game was played inside out. You got to bring the ball down. You got to run some cross screens. You got to throw the ball in. Other four people got to wait, get the ball, throw it back in, right? Then all of a sudden the game obviously evolved, and it seemed like high school and the college did the same thing. Like we play fast, they play fast, we don't play fast.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, so I can see that with the coaching as well.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, the stuff that happens at the pros eventually trickles down to like college.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not college as much. Well, men's college is a little bit different game than NBA, but I think that's the natural progression as it should be, because the goal is to be the best of the best, to be playing like a pro or whatever. But
Right.
you have to fine tune things, as a coach, you have to fine tune to say, hey, look, it may look cool, but let's start from square one first. Let's get this form shooting in first.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? But it does. You want things that happen at the professional level to eventually trickle down, and that in turn continues to grow the game, and kids get better and more skilled or whatever the case may be. But it is a natural progression to that has to happen.
Right. So, Coach, me and Coach Jared, mainly I get it from him. We watch a lot of 80s basketball, and obviously some of the new era. Where do you think the next evolution of basketball, like where's the evolution going? Because in the back in the day, it was pound the ball inside. Now we're going to spread you out. We're going to hoop and shoot a lot of threes. What do you think that next evolution is?
Let me tell you, I watched a game last night, and it was Florida State versus Duke. And I can't remember the kid's name, but he's on Florida State. And I was looking at the game. I'm like, dang, this kid looks tall. And I Googled Googled the roster, and he's 7'1".
Mm-hmm.
He's on the wing, like, like just like KD, like, but just 7'1". And
Wow.
I said, okay, like, so to answer your question, I think it is going this way. So we're not reinventing the wheel in any way. I'm not by saying this. It's positionless basketball. It's your post players are shooting threes. It's spacing. Obviously, you talk one-on-one and creating your own shot, and the ability to break down your defense or your opponent or whatever. I think the game becomes more free flowing right now, or will continue to become more free flowing until we get the next wave of like traditional post players, which I'm not sure when that will be.
Right.
But I do think it's going to continue to be. I mean, Steph is going to continue to dominate, Steph and Clay, from shooting threes. So the three ball has to be big in what you do. And I think as far as just like going back, I'm not sure we go back to pound and grind or whatever that is. I'm not sure, other than it being like, a mismatch or whatever. I think three ball is going to continue to evolve in that way, and bigs are now going to be just deadly from that.
Jay?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I agree. It's just the style has changed so much. It's definitely positionless basketball. I wonder though, for you, how does that affect the small guards? How does that affect the quote unquote, we used to call them tweeners? Like with the way the game now, you said there's a 7'1" guy on the wing. So that's I guess that'll be equivalent to WNBA, maybe a 6'3", 6'4". I know Breonna Stewart's about 6'4", right? What does that do for the 5'11" small forward at the division? Like what do you, how can that translate now? Like what happens to those type of players in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, those players have to find ways to impact the game that you don't realize that they're tweeners. So
Mm,
the tweeners have to shoot the three. The tweeners have to be athletic enough to defend a bigger post player or go get some rebounds. Like you have to identify something about your game that's going to stand out at that size that it makes a coach, general manager say, I mean, I can't cut this player because they're super athletic and know how to defend. They're just in the right spots when it comes to getting old boards and putbacks. They're a monster on the defensive rebounding end. Like there has to be something that is pinpointed and specific in your game, like to 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 I guess override the fact that you are in between positions. But also, I would say for tweeners, like to be more guard oriented is more important than trying to be more post oriented, in my opinion,
Hmm.
because now you're a little bit more versatile. Like,
mm,
so if you're a tweener who can't come off of a ball screen and you want to roll all the time, but you're not as athletic, like I'm going to need your skill set to be very guard oriented to where you're getting a rebound, pushing up the floor, or coming off of a pitch back or a DHO and getting to the rim. Like
mm.
have to have some type of a guard skill set to kind of offset your size, in my opinion. Whether it may be shooting, the three ball could be that, but you can't be a tweener and don't know how to dribble the ball.
Right. And it's tough too, because obviously we do this for the youth and they're watching college and pros, the people that they look up to. Like for someone who's done it, coaching pro and then coaching youth, like what's the best way to prepare them for being comfortable like with themselves or what they can be as a player from whatever you learned from being a professional coach?
Yeah, I think you have to put the work in, like hands down. That's first and foremost. Like you can't have this goal and this desire to be a pro and like your work ethic doesn't match that.
Mm.
I think a lot of times, right now, again, it is like I'm spending time doing something to post, and I look at it and maybe I'm gonna do it different. Let me make this no like put the phones away, like really dive into your craft and that the work ethic isn't solely like your individual workout. In my opinion, your work ethic is watching the game, and a
Right.
lot of times a lot of young girls don't even watch the WNBA or don't even watch college basketball. When you watch the game in general, and not just watching like with music in your ears, like you watch and you listen to what the commentators are saying. That's how you learn basketball too. And I think young kids miss that stage of things because they just want it. It's a microwave at world, right? We just want to just get it right away.
Right.
It's a process to it, and you have to love the journey and love the process of the good, bad, and different. But the work ethic, you got to put the work in.
Or Jay.
I mean, I think with that too, I've always been intrigued. Like, how for you, when we talk about the process, you'll go and you'll work with a regular or decent high school player,
Mhm.
and then you got to go and you got Sue Bird, you got Breonna Stewart, you got Jewel Lloyd. For you, because that's different. There's not many coaches that have to go back and forth. How for you as a coach do you? I don't want to say switch it on and off because I think it stays on, but how do you do that? Because I know that I would think that there are some people who coach at a high level
Mhm.
would maybe have not as much patience if they're coming down to the high school level because you're working with pros who you can go in right now, they understand a lot of the vernacular that you're giving them, but now you go back to this level and it's like, ah. So for you, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, you bring up a great word, patience. I think I'm naturally a patient person, and so in coaching, you have to be very patient. And I think also there is like a understanding that of who I'm working with. Like, yeah, when I work out with Stewie and Jewel, I'm in underneath the rim catching their makes right here. Working with high school kids, I'm like,
Right, right.
rebounds. Like, can we focus? Like, yeah, 0 for 10 right now. I'm gonna need you to.
Right.
But that's part of the journey. That's part of the process. And I think for me, it makes it more valuable. I think it gives me a little bit more respect. It's funny to say this, but when high school kids see that I'm professional and work with professional players, then it's like, oh, I got the juice now, instead of reverse. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm.
gained your respect, but cool. That's just how it is. Um, yeah, I just think that there's a big quality of um, patience that has to happen because of the skill level. But I think for me, it is rewarding when you work with a young player on something, and
Mm.
you see them do it in the game, or you see them getting better at it. The process from freshman year to senior year, you see them, speaking the language that you spoke to them, or relaying the messages to the younger player. Like that to me is like the rewarding part of working with younger players. And the pros, they got that already. Like they know what it takes to get there. So it is just managing. It is like, making sure you elevate them, consistently challenge them, or whatever the case may be. But it's more fulfilling at the high school level just because you can see like the process of it and it's more tangible. You know what I mean?
Okay. Coach, I just kind of want to touch up just a little bit before my next question on that word patience.
Mhm.
Obviously, I've seen you coach a few times at Bishop, and me and Jerry have this thing when we're watching the game and the game's over or after practice, whatever it is. He always say, "What'd you see?" So I'm preparing for that. But the first thing I said is I was like, "Man, I love her temperament. Like she never looks rattled. Team goes on an 8-0 run. She's not overreacting. It's the same demeanor throughout
Thank you.
the whole game. So that's just something I noticed and I admire about you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kind of transitioning though. What goes into your practice planning? Um, like how do you come up with, all right, we're gonna do shoot around this time, we're gonna do film this time? Like what goes into that process?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's not reinventing the wheel. I mean, obviously, as a player, I knew what we did, and now it's a seamless transition in that I played for Seattle, and so I know it helps me in my preparation. As far as practice, it just depends on where we are in the season. Like if it's training camp, a little bit longer days. Obviously, more teaching, and it's a short training camp, so you kind of try to get through things, but making sure we're ready, to play games. But then during the season, it's a little bit more tailored because we have so many games, and we don't have as many opportunities to practice. But first and foremost, just making sure, just kind of like the meat and potatoes of practice is just making sure we get our skill work in, making sure we cover offense, You know, if it's a team that we're scouting for, ways to attack them defensively through our offensive execution on the defensive side of the ball, whatever it is we want to attack or disrupt. We go through that. You know, we'll go through a couple of, you know, whether it's shell drill for defense, offensive, you know, drills or whatever, some full court stuff, you know, scripting. So go through our offense without defense. If we have a scout team that day with COVID, it's been a little bit different, but
Right.
we practice against other men. So have an opportunity to go up and down against them, going through our systems and all of that. And that's kind of pretty much the biggest aspect of it, just hitting on every part of the game in our preparation. And you know, I don't like to go too long, but I also like to get in what we need to get in and make sure everything is like copacetic in one. And then, you know, for shoot around, it's not long. We'll watch film. Also on practice days, we usually watch film every day. But for shoot around, we watch film on our opponents. We will, you know, go through our stuff, go through the defensive scout, and yeah, it's pretty. It's you don't want to, you know, go into practice or shoot around or whatever thinking that you have to just pull these ideas from the universe that just, you know, like sometimes keeping it simple
Yeah.
is just as important as trying to be so intricate in what you do.
Okay.
So for a person that you've had all hats, how does that skill apply to training? I have a bunch of people on our channel who are coaches, a bunch of people who are skill trainers. How for you does that apply to skill training? Because I know you've seen hundreds of people train. You've obviously had to be a person that's done skill development for your professional athletes as well as your high school athletes. When is too much too much? And when is not enough not enough?
Yeah. I'm not big on like flipping tires over and like doing things that are not related, basketball related. I'm big on you know, not only, you know, repping with cones, but repping with actual defenders and you know, making it more game like. And then the other thing that I'm big on is we don't have to spend 2 hours in here. Like you can spend 45 minutes to an hour and stay sharp. And I think that's what sometimes a lot of people are like, we gotta be in the gym for 5 hours and you know, we in the gym working, that's cool, but what's the quality of your 5 hours? Like how hard are you going? What are your reps looking like? Because I guarantee we can go 45 minutes in sharp, gain speed. Your 45 minutes is going to be so much more impactful than just trying to say I'm getting all this work in, quantity work in over quality. You know what I mean? So I'm just big, and of course, in the 45 minutes, if it's not sharp, if it's not on point, then we're gonna spend an extra 15 getting it there. Like I'm not opposed to that, but I think you just have to simplify in a way, and it doesn't, you know, if you work on, you don't have to work on every single aspect of your game every time you get in the gym, but break it down. Let's work on shooting today. Today we're gonna work on creating our jab steps. Tomorrow, there's another thing, and my last thing I'll say about training, like when do you work on defensive concepts?
Ooh, nugget. Here we go.
Yeah, like when? So I think that's a big part that trainers miss, or like individual workout, you miss that. Like, and it don't have to be long. 5 to 10 minutes, slide in or staying in front of people, one-on-one, whatever, or ending your workout going one-on-one and make it a defensive drill. You only get points if you get a stop. Like, I think we need to value that side of the ball, because then these kids get into games and we're like, oh, you can't keep nobody in front of you. Well, practice this. Like, when you my trainer and we're not even going through no defensive concepts. You know what I mean? I think that's important as well.
That's a nugget, coach. That's a nugget. Staying in that same realm a little bit. What's the difference though? Like when it comes to that like preparation and training, but at the levels though, because you have the high school, then you have college, and then you have the professional. So what do you think is the difference at each of those levels?
Skill.
Skill.
I mean, but I prided myself on as a coach at the high school level. The way I coach, I set the bar really high. So sometimes my sisters be like, "Coach, they don't get that or whatever." But I think I didn't want to limit them. I don't want to like to put limitations on young kids because adults get in the way. Like kids are resilient. Kids know they're learning, they're still developing their minds. And so you don't want to just say, oh, the kid can't do it just because you as an adult either couldn't do it or don't understand it, or you don't want to take the time to teach them in a different way. So I prided myself on the way I coach, I'm like, okay, when these kids get to college, I don't want their college coach to say, you didn't learn that in high school. So I gave them professional things. I give them, you know, professional verbiage or just concepts like that. And let's see if they can do it. And if they can't, as a coach, I'm like, okay, I'll fall back a little bit. But if they excel at it, and then it does something for the kid. And some kids in high school may not ever touch a basketball after their senior year, but the time that you're with me, you're going to get my best and you're going to get a high level because I want you to learn and know. And I think, the skill set is different. Like obviously, I can't run certain things that I run like for Stewie or with Susan, at the point guard can't run certain things, but you kind of tailor it to the high school level and figure it out, and you'll be pleasantly surprised at what the kids can do if you kind of set that bar high and believe that they can do it.
I think transitioning on this one because I want to know because I know there's a bunch of people who will take advantage of the knowledge that you're bringing. For a person that went from the high school level to the Division I level and play at the high level in Division I, for you, what are some individual things that players should work on if they're aspiring to be Division I players? Like I've heard different answers. I've heard some people say, well, if you have kids, you want to be good at everything because when they go to college, they're going to play a role. I've had some people tell me, look, focus on maybe being great at one or two things, whether that's shooting the ball, whether that's defending. So now you can a school can come and recruit you based on that role for their school. So you've seen it at all levels. For you, if you were a recruiter, because in a way you kind of are doing that at the pro level, what do high school players need to do to be preparing the best for being Division I athletes?
Well, first and foremost, I would say if your grades ain't on point, we're not even coming to the gym. So you have to make sure your academics are straight. Because if not, then you're not going to get highly recruited. The second thing I'll say that's not basketball is your demeanor, the body language, how am I acting on the bench, how am I communicating to my teammates, how am I communicating to my coaches, and this goes right along with it. Parents, how are you acting? Because you're getting recruited as well. So, right, not even talking about basketball, right off the bat, like make sure you understand you are a student athlete. Make sure your grades are on point, and then as a family, understand that I am getting recruited based on I test first. First impressions are everything. If you come in a gym and you see poor body language and just talking to your parents in the stands and talking to your coach any type of way, not responding well to your teammates, as a recruiter, I'm off. Done deal. You could be the best player in the world, but if I see that, for what? Why would I want that in my program? And it's for basketball. I think you touched on a lot of great points, Jared. I think if you are a knockdown shooter, show that you're a knockdown shooter. And when I come into the gym or I watch over the course of your career, and you say you're a knockdown shooter and you shoot poor efficiency or whatever, you're not that, then I think you should focus on enhancing your proficiencies. Is that opposite of defense? Whatever is that you are very good at or great at, enhance that. So I'm gonna be straight up. Like, maybe you have no left hand, but you go right and nobody can stop you. Enhance that. Now, should you know how to go left and right? Yes, I would say that was kind of like an exaggerated.
I know what you mean, though.
But enhance the things that you're great at. And yeah, I think, and this is, I'm kind of all over the place with this answer, because I do think it is important to have a skill set. I do think it is important for a Division I athlete. You can't go to Division I and think you can not have a left hand. I think it's important as a Division I athlete to have a consistent jump shot. I think as a Division I athlete, I think you need to defend. I think you need to have, so there are different aspects of the game that I think you need to be strong with. But at the end of the day, if there is something that you feel like you are amazing at, then lock in on that and show that, because then as a recruiter, I know who you are. Like, yeah, I need a shooter. I need that kid because this kid is an amazing shooter. I need a point guard. You can tell the leadership of this kid. You can tell that they run the team or whatever. I need a post player. You know what I mean? There are very much people coming to the gym and know what they want and need. I mean, then there's the kid that can do everything. And obviously, the Swiss Army knife is always going to be very appealing to a coach. But I would agree. I don't think it's a bad idea to just focus on your strengths.
Okay, Coach. This is my favorite part of the segment. We're gonna go to Coach Jay. He's got some rapid fire questions for you. So I'm looking forward to see what you have to say, because I'm tired of arguing with him about it every day. So it'll be good to get some new input.
Okay.
Coach Jay.
All right, here we go, Coach.
Here we go.
Best WNBA team of all time.
Houston Comets.
Okay. Yeah.
First of all,
so I'm gonna say this. This is obviously with the assumption that I can't say my team, but the Comets have won 4 straight. Like, who has done that? 4 straight.
Come about. First of all, let's do this, okay? Because I knew you were going to do this. We forget about the ABL.
Okay.
Half the talent was in the ABL, and people when I say, "Well, what do you mean?" If half your best players in another league, 2 of them championships low key should have asterisks on them.
Who would you say? Minnesota?
He gonna say Sparks.
Sparks with the back-to-back?
No, look. I thought the Sparks, I like Minnesota because I feel like Minnesota, was there. It was, Maya had other things to do. You know what I mean? That affected
this is crazy. Wow.
That affected dynasty. Okay?
Wow.
I'm having to change of heart on the
Oh
first
my
episode.
God.
I'm having to change of heart.
Coach, he has never answered that. Like, he has never said that. He has never. I go back and forth about this all the time. He's never said that. This is great. This is great.
This is not my rapid fire. This is Coach Quinn. I apologize. All right, Coach Quinn. Here we go. Best WNBA player of all time.
This is how I'm going to answer this question.
Oh, I know. Come on.
Because I'll liken it to this. Like an older era would be like, well, Michael Jordan was, the greatest of our era, and someone say LeBron is the greatest of our era. So I'll answer this question by saying it like this. I think Cynthia Cooper came to the W at 36, 34. I don't want to say this wrong. Mid-30s. late 30s, mid to late, and killed and like revolutionized the game, brought the Euro step and won 4 straight. Like to me, that is the GOAT of that like time era. If Cynthia Cooper came into the W at 22, like and had a 10-year, 15-year career, like
That's tough.
what would she have done? Right? Diana Taurasi is like, in my opinion, our era, my era of like GOAT as far as just um I grew up a Magic Johnson fan, so she like is like the Magic Johnson of women's basketball, in my opinion. Her ability to make her teammates better, her ability to put pressure on everybody's defenses, her ability to just get a bucket. I think she's amazing. And I would probably say DT. And we're in free agency right now, so I'm not tampering anyway. This is
No, you don't get in trouble on our show.
this is a fan of women's basketball speaking.
Okay. Now this the one. I want to hear what you guys say. The hardest person you ever had to guard, where you say, you know what, she told me up.
Diana. Mhm. Diana for sure. Yeah, she's just big and strong. Um, you have to play her at the 3-point line. When you get too close, she'll go by you. She'll body you. And I think the biggest part of Diana's game is just her ability to get into other people's heads. Like she's the ultimate trash talker. She just knows who she is. She's a dog. Like, and yeah, she was the hardest. She's always been the hardest.
Worst basketball moment.
Mm, probably two things come to mind. My high s- my I, it was either my sophomore or junior year. So I told you about the 4 state titles we won. We also won
Mhm.
the CIF. The one year we lost, I still remember we lost to Harvard Westlake, and I was talking to Coach Mitchell before that game, and he was like, "You guarantee a win tonight?" And I don't do this even in as at that age. I was like, "Yeah, Coach, we got this. I guarantee it." And we lost. I was so sick. So that's the only championship that I lost in high school. If not, we would have ran the table. I'll say that, and then there was another moment when I played in the W for Phoenix. We actually that year we played without Diana and Penny, and we had the opportunity to go to either the semis or the next round. I think it was the semis, or it wasn't finals, but I think it was semis. Um, I had to take the ball out, and we had a chance to win the game. We were running this play for BG to basically get on the clock, Brittany Griner, and Maya Moore was actually defending me. It was a tie game with, I don't know, maybe a couple seconds left. Um, so Maya got her hands on the ball as she tipped it on my pass, and I knew the score, I knew the time, and it was like the ball was kind of loose and kind of just went for the ball, and the ref called a foul with like tie game, tie game. Called a foul. Maya actually misses one free throw and she makes the second, but basically on the clock, no more timeouts. And I was so sick. I was sick because like it was a bad call. And obviously taking, I mean, that's a pressure. I was a good passer, so I'm always taking the ball out in crunch time, and coaches always trust that. Um, but then the part that hurt was like the next day, obviously that night, crying, going through all the emotions. The next day, the league came out and said that that call shouldn't have been made, and so it didn't help me, but it helped in a way knowing that it was a bad like. But they still are going on into the playoffs, and yeah, that one stung a lot. That one hurt. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's turn negative into a positive. Best basketball moment.
Best basketball moment. I had a lot of great moments. Man, that's a tough one. I'll probably say Winning a championship in 2018, I thought that that was a great year. I thought that that was my first one, and I kind of rode off into the sunset and retired after that. I have had a lot of great basketball memories, and I don't know if that was my favorite, but like that's kind of the freshest one on my mind.
All right, this is the last one. If you had to, you only have one word. What motivates you?
Golden Quinn. That's my mom.
That's the big goat. If y'all don't listen, she is the goat. That woman has so much swag, bro. Goat. That's goat.
Yeah. For sure. That's my girl. Like I mean, in all aspects of life, obviously watching her just be great, do everything for me and my sister, and just I'm blessed, man, to have a mom like that cares so much, rarely missed games, like was a teacher herself and had to educate others, and just so supportive. Like you could put me and Candace Parker in the same room and my mom gonna say you better than her. You know what I mean? Like this mom, let's be realistic. This is an amazing player. She's this is my number one fan and always is in my corner no matter what. And that I mean, I just try to live my life to make her proud, but she motivates me the most.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Wow. That's a you're gonna have me, man. I'm gonna get my tissue. So first episode, man, like I said, we always try to at least hear, say a little prayer, man. So something that we grew up with for us, man, was something that we always did. We were leading each other. And I'm gonna say it so you guys want to hear it. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent, one from the other. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, Coach. I wasn't gonna do it, but I know Coach Jared said last question, but this question I gotta know. I have to. I gotta ask. I'm sorry. I know you're busy. I gotta know. I'm a huge Maya Moore fan. Mm-hmm. So just as her being like an opponent and playing against her, like, can you give a little input just on how she impacts the game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we talk about what she's done off the court and that aspect. But as far as on the court, she just like never stops. And she's always moving, and she may be in the wrong spots and she'll get a steal, or her handle isn't like that tight if you kind of like analyze Maya's game, but it's like the ball will slip and you'll go for it, and then it's like a quick another move, like she knows to do it. You know what I mean? I just think she just has this competitive spirit and this drive, and she never like backs down, and she's always in great shape. She's very versatile in that she can post up, she can shoot the three. It's just she was always a tough guard just because she's physical and just again always in great shape, so always moving and all of those things. If one thing I can point to would be kind of just her handle. It's like LeBron-ish. You know how LeBron tries to like break down people, but move like that. Right. But then he still gets people. I would kind of liken it to that, but it's like she didn't have a lot of deficiencies, and that's what made it so tough.
Okay. All right. Well, Coach, we thank you for being a part of our first episode of the basketball community. In my eyes, you are a legend. Jared says you're the GOAT. So thank you for taking time with us today. It's greatly appreciated, and it's been an honor.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having
me. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right.